being here. Obviously, disappointed with the result on Saturday. Felt like it was a football game that was going to be a great matchup and game that we felt like we had a chance to win. As I've said to our players, I think it's really, really important for us right now as a coaching staff and really a football program is to have a very calculated response. Not to overreact, not to underreact, but just to be very disciplined in the way that we see things. What I've asked our guys not to do is not to settle for the narrative of how we're just a couple plays away. I think that's a deadly, deadly thing when you start saying things like that. I think I showed them probably 45 plays yesterday that could have been the difference in the game. And so for us, this is what the Big Ten is. It's going to be exciting games that come down to the end, and you always have to make one more play than your opponent. We had our opportunities. We didn't get it done. Obviously, perhaps the most disappointing thing was just the fact that they controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides. What I will say is what's frustrating about it is it's really three big runs on offense. I think equated to about 168 yards. Now they made the plays, right? So it's not like those are okay, but one's a nice call by them on the quarterback draw where someone just kind of has to make a play, right? They have sort of the numbers advantage, and you just have to make a play. We didn't get it done. They made the play. One is an outside zone right before the half where just several guys just didn't execute their assignment, and we missed a tackle. Okay, it just has to be what it is. And then the third one's we're just not quite lined up right, not quite communicated right, and we have three guys really on one side instead of having a guy in the post, and so. Very self-inflicted wounds. I think the important thing for our football team is, not to say, as I said, not to say it's just one play, and not to say it's just, hey, this position group has to play better. I think everybody can play better. We had so many chances to make more plays. We're a step away on a punt return. We just barely step out of bounds on a touchdown catch. I mean, so many, and it's not just those plays. So many opportunities to go out and win the football game, and so. As always, I think it's just really important that we take ownership but stay very neutral, and not overreact, not underreact, but just try to get better. And that's what we'll do. But, we know that we have an excellent football team. We believe that with all our heart. We're throwing the ball at a high level. We're covering people at a high level. We have to eliminate the explosive plays. And we obviously, if we give Dylan time, not many people can cover us. So we're just going to have to do a better job of protecting the pocket. And I don't want to in any way minimize their players. They I don't know if they did it on purpose or stumbled into the week before putting Jay Sean, Barnum at number one, at outside linebacker, and he looks like a top 10 pick, to be quite honest. I faced a lot of good players, and I knew going into the week what he was, and he played really, really, really well. And so we'll try to improve this week in all those areas. We'll look at everything. It's been a grind up until now. We've played 4 games, had an off season. We've got 3 new coordinators who have worked their tails off, and I think we were able to sit down today and even just kind of look at our players, like, hey, who's making plays? Who do we need to play more? Even some of our young players are playing really well. You don't really know about a freshman until they start playing. So we're really kind of looking at our personnel, look at what we're doing, and how can we get better moving forward. So that was long. I'll answer all questions. So I'm not trying to filibuster my way out of the press conference. I just I think it's really important for our players to hear me say that I love the progress that they've made. We got down by 10, we fought back. Got down by 7, we fought back. We fought back at the end of the game. Their mindset is where I want it to be. We're significantly better in the special teams. We're better throwing the football. Obviously, we're better on defense, covering. We have some areas we have to improve upon, and that has to happen now.
Your defenses have always been really good against the run historically. What needs to change?
A tweak, or is it a broader fix?
So it's a really good question, and I'm going to be. You have to be careful what you say as a head coach. I'm going to be very direct with you. I don't know exactly what, because if you take out 4 runs, now you can't take out 4 runs. Okay, so this is not me, but you take out the 3 long runs in this game, and again, that's why I went through what each one was, because it's not like Sam there just going like 6 yards, because that then starts to scare you and turn the other way. Like, hey, we can't stop anybody. Like, you look at the season, if you take out the reverse against the 2s against Michigan State, like when the kid got tackled in reverse field, and then those 3 runs, they're averaging 3.7 yards per carry. So you're sitting in the game and you're sitting there and you're stopping the run. You're like, I feel good about this. And then bang, an explosive play. Now, so each one's just a little bit different, right? So, I think we're very much looking at like, hey, because we didn't play a lot of 3-3 in the game. We put big people on the field. We put our big people on the field. We said, hey, we dare you to throw it, and they still found a way to run a couple runs that hurt us. And so I think that's really what we have to do this week is just look at like who's on the field, how we're playing. But I don't think it's like a hey, we don't have good enough players. Now, the part of that what the players have to hear is we're just also not overwhelming people with like, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like, we're not gap and a half thing and we're locked out in the B gap and the ball goes inside and we're throwing the guy down and making a tackle. That's not happening at a high enough level. So we're going to have to play better. We're going to have to coach better. And I don't want to minimize how good their backs are. I thought going into the game that 22, I think I said it last week, was an elite level player, and he was an elite level player. I mean, I hope if anything, we're trying to be honest. I sat here last week, I said, guys, inside the 10 offense, our kickoff game, and 10-yard rushes were the things that concern me. Well, explosive runs. We had the ball inside the 10, inside the 5. So at least we're being honest about the things that we know we have to fix. But I don't know that it's like a major overhaul because I think we're doing sound things. We're in Bear, we're in all those different things. I just think it's making sure that the right guys are doing the right things and kind of settling into who we are moving forward.
So you say the most disappointing thing is they control the line of scrimmage. How do you size that up in your mind in the context of the rest of the Big Ten schedule?
That's an excellent front seven on both sides we faced. Okay, I mean, like this is like I don't want to go into a game saying, hey guys, but like you look afterwards, you look back at the personnel and you say, okay, like who do we face? Like I knew who number 1 was. I know who number 4. I mean, they have excellent players on the front seven. Like we covered them the entire day, and I don't mean that not disrespectfully. Like they're running routes and there's no one open. We're getting open all over the field. So like it's not like, hey, we don't have a right to play against these guys. When we got in rhythm on offense, we went down the field and scored. You know what I mean? I just don't want to minimize who they are, right? I mean, we faced a really good team. It's a good litmus test for us. We can play better than we played, though, and we need to play better than we played. So again, I don't want to overreact. I don't want to underreact and say, well, it's Michigan. Like we're Nebraska. You know what I'm saying? Like go play. I mean, I believe every Big Ten game is going to be like this. I mean, it's like that's why they created the Big Ten like this. That's why they went out and got these teams so that every game's going to come down to 3, 4, 5 points, and you're going to have to make one more play than them. I did like I said, I liked our mindset. The old, oh, here we go again. I never felt that at all. I felt like the guys were attacking. I felt like the crowd was in it. I felt like we kept fighting. Yeah, we're going to have to play. We're going to have to play better up front to be the team that we want to be.
On the O-line, you said Saturday you thought maybe you were backing up or catching them a little bit, not as super physical because of what they're doing. What do you see kind of as you watched it back? Did that confirm that?
Yep. I think we just, they edged us early, and so then we started trying to absorb contact instead of taking the fight to them. I thought we were, they do bring a lot of pressures and blitz. I mean, there's a couple that we turn sometimes we turn a guy loose that didn't need to be turned loose because we're overthinking it. I mean, again, they present a lot of challenges. Credit to them, but it's also a bunch of other things too. Sometimes you have a chip and the back doesn't chip, properly, right? Like he just tries it, but it's not a great chip. One sack, we're supposed to have a comeback and the guy runs the wrong route. So it's all 11 guys, but I think versus that rush, they were lining up wide and going speed. It's everything we knew they would do, right? Going speed to power and trying to collapse the pocket and make Dylan uncomfortable. And we didn't widen the pocket enough. And so from a football perspective, you want to have the width and depth of the pocket. The tackle set the width. Your inside guy set the depth. For the most part, the depth was okay, but the width, the edge guys won versus our tackles too much. And that it takes all 11 guys. Guys got to get open fast. Quarterback's got to get the ball out. You chip, rib, or whatever you need to do. We didn't get that done well enough.
Coach, can you win the way you guys played Saturday or long term in the Big Ten, or do you need more balance in this offense with the ground game?
Yeah. I mean, you want to run the ball more. I mean, but I think I always want to be able to run the football more than we did. And I think you need to be 100 to 150 yards rushing, to win. That being said, I mean, we had every chance to win that game, so I don't want to start panicking about, hey, we're doing too much of this, too much of that. Like, I mean, when Dylan had time, they When Dylan had time, everyone was open. So, we scored 27 points. I mean, we had a kill for 27 points at times last year, versus a pretty good defense. But yeah, I think we're always searching for balance. I think the one balance that we believe in, though, too, is the ball getting into many people's hands. So I do think we're spreading the ball around and attacking people. But I think this is a good week for us to go back and look at all that and say to ourselves, like, hey, what are we doing well and what can we do better?
You tried a couple different guys at left tackle. Just what do you want to see from that side of the line moving forward?
I think that this whole week we're going to go back and look at those guys. I think what you find out from players is how they respond after a game like that. I've always felt at positions like corner and at tackle, where you are basically, your job is to not give up a big play. And when you have that game where, like, you give up a couple posts for touchdowns, or you give up a couple sacks, it's really about how you respond. And so we'll have to see how the guys respond this week. We've been rotating a lot of guys at those positions and hoping that we would solidify and crystallize by the Big Ten. And we'll have to see through this week and then go into next week, hopefully hey, here's our best 5 guys, and let's go to war with those 5 guys. And the rest of the guys are backups, and they'll go in as needed. So I think that those are all the things we're kind of meeting on and watching right now.
How do you philosophically approach those moments in games when somebody, whether it's Pritchett after a false start or Marquise after like a missed run fit, and those guys go and we don't see them the rest of the day? Like, how do you philosophically approach the what you do as a coach with making decisions about whether a guy is going to come back or he needs to sit for a while?
Yeah, and Marquise didn't get pulled because of that play. We went to a bear with 3 corners. Like, we just adjusted to how they were playing us, right? So I got all the confidence in the world in Marquise Buford. And again, the ball doesn't even need to get to him. You know what I'm saying? If everyone up front does what they're supposed to do, he's not going to be there. And he'll be there. So I think every player's different. Every situation's different. Kind of depends on sort of their history and where they're at. I don't want the guys to play afraid. I also think, part of it's like, hey, sometimes you dance with the person who brought you, and so if someone's a starter, you play that game out with the guy who's starting and you mix some guys in, but you put them out there and then you kind of go from there.
You've talked at length about Pritchett's development. How has that development looked of late in the last couple of weeks?
I've been practicing better. There's a dependability and a focus level. I'm not talking about just him. I'm talking about in general on the offensive line that you need, right? And so it's just hard to be in 3rd and 3s and go to 3rd and 8s. But I like Elijah a lot. I think he's got great physical talent. Sometimes players come to us because they have great physical talent, and they our way of doing things, we hope, helps them play their best football. And so we're searching for that with him. But all the guys who transferred in for us, Dane Key, we good? Dane Key, those guys, we want to just make sure that they're playing their best football under us, So if you're not getting that done, you take it very personally. You try to move forward. I take those things very seriously. These aren't just names on a jersey to me. They're kids whose lives I care a great deal about.
What do you feel like the reasoning is behind the red zone run game? Why it hasn't been as good as you'd like it to be?
I think we've attached a lot of RPOs to them. We haven't really hit on the RPOs. Like at the end of the game, we went to the last RPO to Heinrich that we did on 4th and 1. That one worked. They gave us an edge pressure blitz look on the little speed sweep shovel pass, and we just didn't quite come off the ball enough. We kind of just sat there and tried to catch the blitz instead of coming off the ball. I think down the 3rd down. I mean, it was 3rd and 3. I basically said, hey, you have two downs to run the ball for 3 yards, and I thought we kind of came off the ball looking to see what they were going to do instead of coming off the ball. And let me just say this: all very frustrating. So when I say it in this tone, it's not like I'm not minimizing it. I'm not saying it's okay, but I just saying it is what it is. I'm trying to, when I talk to you guys, I try to be very football based. Like, this is the struggle, this is the problem, this is the issue. So we're kind of down there looking to pick up all the blitzes that we know they're going to bring, as opposed to rocking off the ball and knocking it back. So I think some has been the RPOs, and we had our chances down there. So I think in general we had to play better up front, and that's everybody. That's the tight ends, that's the backs. It's to win that game.
Is that a call that you would make again? The speed sweep with the tight end and using him as a runner instead of a blocker?
I think Yeah, I think it's a play we've run a bunch over the last couple of years, and it's worked. I'm never going to say like I would never put the ball in Lindenmeyer's hands because he's made a ton of plays, right? So, but that's kind of the question, right? So it's like it gives you, because what it is it's a speed sweep to Emmett, and you read in the end, and then Dylan can run it, and then he can pitch it. So it's all three guys. So it's like the 4th and 1 play. You know, you can say the same thing. Why would you guys throw the ball out to a tight end? Well, I mean, I just believe in our guys. I believe when we execute, it works, and we don't execute, it doesn't work, and it's all within our control, and we got to play a little bit better. And but I'm not going to start second guessing Dana. I think he's a pretty smart guy, and I think he's making good calls. And we just, like I said, sometimes they work against a good defense, sometimes they don't. They made the play down there. It played itself all out, right? Like we got the ball right back. We had a chance at the safety, didn't get the safety, tackled the quarterback, got the ball back, at the 31-yard line. So I think part of our game plan was, hey, let's make them drive the length of the field, and which worked in the first half. Didn't really work in the second half, unfortunately, when they had that punt return, kind of flip the field. And we don't put that on Jacory. We wanted to return. Eck wanted to be really aggressive returning that ball. They just did something different. They kicked it back across the field and got us. But we thought we were going to return a punt for a touchdown. If you go back to the last punt return, he almost returned that for a touchdown. He's a shoestring away from going a long, long ways. And so, sometimes when you make these game plan decisions, hey, we're going to be aggressive here, it can backfire.
Brought up the importance of Dylan making the routine plays and relying on that instead of the wow plays. The sidearm throws or rolling out. It just seemed like there was a little bit more of that, like on the first drive in the script, like he was getting outside of the pocket. Was that designed to slow down their rush, or do you feel like you need to do that more when you're facing an elite defense?
Well, I mean, some of those like we did like a double count, and if they jump offside, you snap it. They didn't jump, but we snapped it anyway. So he was kind of running around. So some of those where he was just running around, they weren't called. He had the one which we ran it right before the half. We were running some RPOs. What we felt like as the game went on was, very NFL-based defense. So when you put the RPO along, the run along with the pass, it conflicted them. That's why sometimes it's like third and whatever, and you're running the ball, and people are kind of like, well, why are you running the ball here? But it's an RPO, right? So, but he got out to his left, the one, threw the ball sidearm to Isaiah. But we ran that same play later. Quinn Clark caught it. So we kind of did that throughout. A lot of those were just, they forced us to hand it. Like they're playing with their ends wide. So Emmett had some nice runs on the outside zone that cut up inside. We did try to get him outside the pocket on the one that Isaiah caught, and that was just something we thought would work versus their quarters. We were in a double post with a sail route, and just unfortunately stepped out of bounds. And then obviously the pylon tip, the Hail Mary. But I thought Dylan played an excellent game. I thought he never let the rush bother him. I mean, the touchdown to Jacory, it's you guys talked a lot about Coach Martindale, who's a great friend of mine, how great of a coordinator he is, and he checked the zero, and Dylan saw it. He went to 90 gap protection and threw the double move touchdown. I think he played an amazing game in that. But I think the RPO. There's some teams that are bound for RPOs, and some teams are just playing man. It's not necessarily as much of an RPO game. We had a couple screens that we threw that should be big plays, and we just missed a block, or else we're maybe out for big plays too. So it's just, I think it's you kind of attack each team based upon who they are.
Coach, what is your schedule for the bye week as far as practice, and even with recruiting and stuff? The 2 bye weeks, do you guys get out this time, or do you hold those days for bye week number 2?
No, we'll be out. Yeah, we have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll practice. We met and did everything. We did everything yesterday like it was not a bye week. They have today off. We'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then a lot of us will go out. I'll be out. The coaches will be out Thursday and Friday. As disappointed as everybody is, I mean, the word from recruits is, from that game on Saturday, just the atmosphere, the crowd, the experience, the energy, the intensity, the excitement. I think we had an amazing experience for those guys, and they had a lot of good things to say, and I think they all see kind of where the program is trending. I mean, I think I always believe the two things can be true. You can feel like, hey, we're excited about the ascension that we're on. We're also very disappointed with the result on Saturday. I also say, in I look at the top 25, that's where we want to get to. 6 of the top 25 teams have a loss. So, you can't, the days of 2 undefeated teams playing for the national championship are over. You better learn how to grow up and just, like I said, just have a calculated response and play better next week. So, but to your point, I mean, this is an excellent time for us to get out and get on the road. Recruits are excited about us in the 26 class, the 27 class. We have to double down and go recruit at a high level.
With the defensive line, when you're talking about stunting and different movements over there,
What are the pros and cons of that, and what goes into how often you want to do that?
That's a great question. I think that's kind of what we're looking at. We've made over the last 3 years since Tony came in, we've made a commitment to doing a lot of stuff. We've caused a lot of havoc. We are not finishing some of those movements right now, and it's hurting us really badly. And so, do you continue to do it? Do you not do it? I'm not going to sit here and say, "Hey, Michigan State, we're going to do." I'm not going to. I do have to play more games, and I mean, so I don't want to say exactly, but I think there's a lot of merit to that. Like, hey, is this what we should be doing? Who are the players that we have, and what do they do best? And so, like I said, we went to that bare front. We played some 4-3 this game. We had 3 linebackers on the field. We played some 5 down and put 3 corners in the game. So we tried to overload the box and just say, hey, we're going to take our chances in man coverage, which we believe we have excellent cover guys. So I think it's all those questions are really, really important. And when it comes down to how often, I think that comes down to the team you're facing and how they run the football and the things that they do. You have to be careful with line movement when it's when they're an outside zone team, and this was a downhill predominantly inside zone power and counter, and they hurt us on outside zones. So I would prefer to slant into the run as opposed to away from the run. But when you watch Indiana play Illinois, and they're beat them 63-10, Indiana's stunting and slanting and moving. So I'm always paying attention to what we do. To me, it's always more important who's doing it and how they're doing it. But I think it's a great question that we're looking at right now.
I know that it's a young group.
Other than Elijah, but how do you feel like the defensive linemen are just coming along in their growth process and adjusting to the rigors of the Big Ten and college football?
Yeah, I think there's moments where they're excellent, right? But you can't give up 286 yards rushing and sit here and start praising that the group. I mean just. But I do think they're coming along. I think we're rushing. I think guys are we're getting to the quarterback. At one point they were 1 for 9 until the second to last drive, right? And then they had 3 third downs, and we had a free hitter to tackle the guy on both of them. That's not me calling the guys out. That's the guys would say that to you, right? They run a sprint out into 3 over 3. They run a screen into it. So we have a chance to make those plays, and that's the slippery slope that we're on right now. And as a head coach, it's very difficult to get up here and tell the truth without feeling like you're throwing the guys over and have it not be something sarcastic. Said back to you. It's like, I want to tell you guys the truth, but it's like they run a screen, we're dropping a guy in them. He's just got to go make that play, and then you'll win the game. And that's not calling that guy out because there's about 50 of those plays. We ran 2 screens on third down where their guy made the play, and so I hate to just say, hey, it's this one group or it's this one guy. It's a bunch of guys, right? I mean, Elijah rips the ball out, Judy rips the ball out, and we go down and score. So I think there's a lot of good things there, but it's not good enough. And that's the important message, is that we have to get better as we move forward. But we faced a really good team early on in the schedule. We've had 2 close games. We won 1 by 3, we lost 1 by 3, and neither one did I feel the panic that I felt for 2 years here from the guys on the sidelines. I think we have a quarterback, we're 5th nationally in passing yards, 1st in completion percentage. I mean, is that defense or offense? Is that offense? We're 1st nationally in passing yards per game allowed. So 5th in opponent completion percentage, no touchdown pass allowed. We just got to get a little better up front, right? Like, he gives me all the good and the bad, right? Think about, we've lost 2 turnovers in 4 games. We're 20th in turnover margin. So, you can be really angry that we lost the game. That's how I feel, just so we're on the same page. I'm really angry that we lost the game, but I also have to recognize, hey, there's things we're doing well. There's other things we're not fixing. It just can't be just, the D-line stinks, right? It's just because that takes the pressure off everybody else. Like, it's all 11 guys out there that all have to make these plays for us to be successful. So, I think we look like a well-coached team in terms of no penalties. We're disciplined. We're not beating ourselves. It just all has to come to fruition, and hopefully we can get hot doing that, which I'm pretty sure we will.
Talking about the Huskers, but curious your thoughts how Bryce Underwood played. There was only 1 false start. How do you think he handled playing in Lincoln for his first Big Ten game?
He's a competitor. Yeah, he's a competitor. he had 105 yards passing. So it wasn't like they tore us up there, but they had the lead, so they were able to play a certain way with him. I thought he was a competitor. He ran hard. Got a lot of respect for him. He's a good young player, and he handled the moment really well. Had the 1 long touchdown run. But I don't want to minimize our pass defense either. I mean, One was a screen play that went for whatever it went for on that third down. I mean, we played really good pass coverage. We rushed the passer, I thought, at a high level. We had three long runs that just broke our heart. But yeah, a lot of respect for Bryce. He'll be a really good player in the Big Ten for a while.
Is this a week you have a conversation with guys about redshirting, and how is that?
Yeah, it's really hard. It's really difficult right now because they're telling me, like, hey, we think 5 for 5 is going to pass later in the year. So it's like, what do I do? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do I do? If it doesn't pass now, I think if it doesn't pass now, it's going to pass. I don't know if it behooves a young man right now to redshirt, honestly. I mean, if someone wants to do it, I certainly would talk to them about it. But I think if it doesn't pass now, it's going to pass next year, the year after, and it's going to be retroactive. And, like, guys last year that I worked my tail off to make sure that they could redshirt, they're going to be sitting there like, man, I wasted a year. I could have played in 4 or 5 more games. So it's a really tough spot to be in, to be honest with you, like for a player, not to take me out of it, like for a player, for a parent, when – I mean, we got word the other day, like, hey, they really believe it's going to pass, but it hasn't passed yet. So how do you do it? You know, how do you prepare for it? I remember sitting there when I first got here, and them being like, hey, there's this lawsuit in the courts and the house something, and this is going to come to fruition at some point, and being like, do you think that'll ever really happen? And all of a sudden, bang, and then you have to manage it, you know, while it's kind of on top of you. That's how I feel about the 5 for 5. So I'm always going to try my best to help the players and put them first, but I think the difference, I think the quality of kid that we've recruited in terms of the competitors, like, they want to play. Like, there's not a lot of guys coming to me right now saying, hey, I don't want to play. Like, I want to play. You know, I'm telling our guys, you know, you can be a really good player and maybe not be playing a lot because there's someone really good in front of you and maybe a little older than you. But no one's coming to save you, man. You gotta go fight for what you want. So, you know, you see like Cortez Mills get in the game. You know, someone gets tired, he gets in the game, and 2 minutes at the end of the drive, he just runs his route, gets open, catches the ball. Right? He's just a competitor. So, I think they'll pass 5 for 5 at some point. But again, I'm sitting here waiting on it. You know, we're lucky to have Troy. He's so in the know. But I don't know if it'll behoove guys.
How's everyone's health with some extra time before the next game?
Yeah, you know, Malcolm came out to practice last week. You know, we expected him to play, and then it just kind of repopped on him. So I don't know what things look like for him. He's another guy. Like, he's a guy that's going into his 4th year. You know, if it's a long-term deal, he could redshirt. He could try to come back and play. But if there's 5 for, you know, again, these are a lot of hard decisions. When you actually care about your players, these are really hard decisions, right? You're trying to give them the best advice. And so I hope some of these things pass. But Malcolm's one that's still kind of out there. We came out of this game pretty healthy. Not to say that we're not beat up, but pretty healthy.
Who do you feel like your second back is right now?
That's a great question. It's like you sat in my staff meeting this morning, because that's literally what my question. And it doesn't mean I don't trust the other guys, but we need some production, you know, more production out of that second spot. You know, Mackay got some reps in there. Isaiah was a running back who kind of had to go to slot when Wood got hurt. You know, I'm always looking at, like, who are the players that we could be getting more production from that we're not putting that on them, but putting that on us. You know, we're like, hey, get Carter Nelson going. Hey, get Mosey going. So where they fit, you know, they've both had to kind of adapt their roles when we lost Wood, but we're not getting a ton of production out of them. You know, Isaiah went back and returned kicks. Him and Kenny went back because we weren't, you know, left or right. And but yeah, so you know, is it Mosey? Is it Quentin? Is it, you know, they've all had a lot of help, a lot of reps. So those are. I'm not trying to blow off the question. That's literally the question I asked this morning, and so I challenged the staff to, hey, let me know how you guys see it. I know how I see it, and kind of go from there.
Did Ives play against him?
No, he did not play. No.
Nelson was kind of elevated. What did he do in practice, and what?
Yeah, it was really more of we have like what we call our 21 package, which is, you know, we put a tight end, one of the tight ends out at receiver. Usually it's Carter, but sometimes it's Heinrich, and they play both Isaiah and Mackay. So it's kind of like, hey, that's their package, and then in 11, it has been Emmett, then Quentin, and then just Emmett played those plays, and when we went to 21 or those other things, it was those other guys. So it wasn't one guy's ahead of another. It really was more the package as Dana called the game.
You said you haven't experienced that kind of nervousness on Saturday that you experienced in the years past. What qualities about this team is just making you not experience that worriness when the team is down in a game?
Yeah, and not to your point, not nervousness, but sort of like that, here we go again. I think we just have a lot of guys who they don't have, like before the game, they asked me about, you know, this many losses versus rank. I haven't been a part of that, so I don't want to own that. Like, I own this game. Dylan goes out to every game thinking he's going to win, thinking there's no way he's going to lose. He's going to play every single snap. And I say Dylan because he's the quarterback, right? Like, we have a lot of guys who they expect to win, and you know, part of playing good teams like Michigan and the team, Michigan State, and the teams we're going to face is like they're going to score points. They're going to play good defense. You're going to get ahead. You're going to get behind. Just battling the game and not overreacting, not panicking. I think things as simple as like the level of our crowd, how elite our crowd is, how loud it is, the game atmosphere. Like I think being at home keeps you in those games, right? Like the people get loud and get excited. So, but I just think our guys, like they're not being victims. Like even right now, like I just said, like there's a lot of teams have lost a game. Like Texas didn't fold the year up and lost to Ohio State. There's no time to feel sorry for yourself. No one's coming to run for you. Just get better. Take the things you did well, and then fix the things you're not doing as well. And to your point, if some of them you can't fix, then you just try to play around them and play to your strengths. But I think it's just our mindset. We got good guys.
Just for the sake of clarity, so Ives and Nelson and Mosey, that's pretty even? Is it pretty even on a daily basis in practice?
Again, that's what I asked the coaches to decide, right? So I went to them today saying, hey, we have 4 games here now. Tell me who the number 2 back is, and more importantly, no matter who it is, who can play. We need somebody to play more, because it's not fair to Emmett to ask him to be out there that many snaps. Okay, so I think it's that as much as anything. Like in my mind, we need someone. I don't care who it is. We need someone to take some more reps so that we have fresher bodies out there at that position. So. Again, like I said, we kind of, Quentin was hurt. He came back. I chose not to play Mekhi for my reasons last week. Isaiah's had to move back and forth. So we've had a bunch of different guys be the number 2, to be quite honest with you. I think we just, now you're at the bye week. We've seen them all. You have some clarity. We'll have to make a decision here this week.
Wish you had it back in hindsight.
I think there's a lot of things to that, right? Like there's money. Some people paid more money than I had. So that's the reality of it. I love our backs, though. I just, I say that like I don't mean there's like you can probably hear a little tone in me, because like there's about 3 people who could say that question to me because they've given me money and I'm able to go get players. So I'm saying like oh coach, I'm worried about when people say to me like I'm worried about the D line. You know how much a D lineman costs nowadays to go get him in the portal? Like all right, $18.90 right there. Write a check and then you can talk to me about what you think we should do. And I say that respectfully towards our players, like we're going to have to spend a lot of money to keep this roster together. We have a good roster. We have a good team. I think Mekhi Nelson's the starting running back in college football. I think Isaiah Mosey is going to be dynamic. He's just young, and we're trying to figure him out. And I think Quentin Ives is a big physical back. But like the whole for me, I want our players to hear like I'm not going to start talking about I wish I'd have done this differently, because that belittles our own guys. But there is a component to this of this is the first year like. This is the first roster. This is the first year that we're at where everyone else is at, and so I think you can see how we recruit when people want to come to Nebraska. Recruits want to come to Nebraska, but we just have to have what everyone else has, and we finally do that. Troy's worked his tail off. The Pede family's worked their tail off, and now RevShare. Now we have maybe not what 10 other teams have, but we have about what everyone else has, and so. Yeah, I don't want to start playing I respectfully out there, I don't want to start playing the roster game, because it takes a lot of money. There's $40 million rosters in college football right now. 40. So I'm just saying.
How will those things hold up though with the rev share cap?
They're going to hold up 100%.
What's that?
They're going to hold up 100%.
They'll just let it go by.
Yeah, well, they're just going to have true NIL deals that equate to there's going to be $40 million rosters out there.
How'd you see the onside kick executed when you watch it on film?
Yeah, it wasn't good. We're that far away from getting it. One player was just late on the get off. We practiced that. We're only team I've ever. This is the only team I've ever been a part of. We do it on Wednesdays. And again, I'm not. Make sure I say this so it's heard the right way. I want our players to hear like, hey, you had all these chances to go make the plays. Just double down and go make the plays moving forward. But yeah, we just, a couple guys went and we're like, we want to be at the line when the ball's kicked, and a couple guys were right behind it. That's right where that ball would have gone through. And Carter was about that far away from getting it. Their kid made a nice play. A lot of times those guys will run up and try to block, and the ball will get back to the back guy. But, yeah, so we had a chance at it. It was the right check. We went across and made the right check. We just didn't quite have the right timing to go get that play.
Is Kenyatta generally that good at that?
I think we have an excellent scheme system, and I think we do a great job of getting the ball kicked properly. So, yeah, just the timing of it, just the get off was just not quite at the level we want. And that's, I'm going to make sure I say it one more time. we're trying to have a very calculated response. And my point to our guys is, it's a hey, Coach Rhule, you should have kicked. I told them maybe I should have kicked the first one. I don't get to go back and do that, right? I chose to go for it on 4th and 2. I went with the analytics. I went with the field position. It didn't work out, so I have to own that. We stepped out of bounds on a touchdown. We have to own that. We didn't have a guy in the post on the long touchdown. We weren't on. We didn't go fast on that play. There's so many plays like that. Until there's gonna be some games you can just overwhelm people with talent, but in a game against a team like Michigan, you're gonna have to make those plays. But that doesn't mean we didn't make a lot of plays. We made a lot, like the throw. If you could just go back on, if those of you guys who watch the All 22, I know sometimes that's available. Like watch the throw, from Dylan's perspective, the throw to Jacory on the touchdown. I mean, it is just a guy running down his face, like throws it around them and just throws it to a spot, and the kid runs and gets it. Like those are the things that, like, when I have to get up in the morning, I say to myself, like, you got a lot to build on. That's way better than it was. Keep building, keep building, keep building. That's what I want our players to hear. I don't care who plays for anybody else. I don't care about anything else. I don't care who we're playing against. Like, number one was a really good player. I expect us to play better against number one next time. There'll be some other good rushers in the Big Ten. But yeah, to your point, the onside kick was, a lot of things were done well. We're just that far away from getting it.
Does it bother you that the narrative about Dylan is not about that throw, and it's about whatever they're talking about on CBS, or that it's about off-field stuff?
Yeah, I just have always, I'm very hard on our players from an accountability measure. I believe that I hold them highly accountable because I want every player someday to say that their life is better because they played for us. And I know people might kind of roll their eyes, but that's all I want. I want them to say I had a better life because I went there. So that might be sometimes challenging them. But outside of that, I'm going to defend them to the nth. I know how hard they work. Like, even if a guy didn't play well, like, what's the point of, like, burying him? Like, what is the point of burying that kid? Like I want to try to build him up. I'm not talking about fans. I'm talking about, but when it comes, sometimes I think things are just so lazy. Like, he's completing 75% of his passes. He's played 2 Power 4 teams. Even the play with the touchdown to Jacory, like, that's an elite level check. That's not somebody in the headset looking over the sidelines and them going like this. And that's Dylan playing quarterback, man. So yeah, I say it to everyone every time the media comes in. I'm like, let's not do just the Mahomes thing. Now, I mean, I get the Mahomes thing, but that's just such an easy. Let's talk about the football. And I think he's playing football at a really, really, really high level. And if you look at his growth from last year to this year, like, he got hit early. He had to run around early, and yet he's one throw, and that throw's not all, I mean, it's on him. It's also on the tight end. Tight end breaks out when he's supposed to sit down. Tight end does what he's supposed to do. The ball's completed, and we don't have to throw that interception. So it's a little bit of everybody. But yeah, that doesn't bother me as much as like, I want people to see in these guys what I see in them. Right? They play their tails off, and I think Dylan's playing quarterback at a really high level right now, personally.